Hey everyone, so today I'm doing the next video in my self-improvement series. I kicked it off with a video explaining why I want to do this, and then I did a video all about warm-ups because I thought why not start at the beginning and make myself start doing warm-ups. And I have been doing them and it's been good. So next I want to do planes of the face because that's obviously very important when you're trying to construct a head or add shadows, all that good stuff. So I guess let's start. I'm gonna try drawing the planes of the face from memory. I don't know why I feel embarrassed to do this. I just do. Am I doing this 3/4 view, front view? Maybe I'll do 3/4 view for this one. I'm gonna practice all views, but I'm just trying to think of what I want to do for this one. I'm just gonna map in a few things first. Like that's where the nose will be. I've drawn planes of the face before, but it's one of those things where I've maybe done it a couple times in my life and that's it. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really enough to properly commit it to memory because I can do, I can do basic face shading and stuff, but this is different. Oh gosh, I feel like the nose is already really small. How blocky do I need to be here? Okay, I know for the eyes, I think there's supposed to be 3 planes like this. I feel like I'm drawing anime eyes or something. That's at least for the eyelids. I'm trying to resist the urge to just bash this the whole time, but I really am feeling uncertain about this. But that's, that's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is to learn new things, right? Okay, wait, I know, let's try to do brow line. I know, for example, the forehead has a flat plane right here. See, the side of the nose kind of smooths down. I don't really know how to indicate that on this. This is why it's important to actually put stuff into practice, because you can look at pictures of this, but unless you're drawing it over and over again to commit it to memory, it's not really doing you that much good to just look at it. I don't even know how to shade some of this in. Some of this is supposed to be the area around his lips. I'm not sure if that comes across. Again, I'm not really sure what to do with the ear. I'm just gonna leave it there. And yeah, there we go. Okay. Wait, this doesn't even make any sense because if this is supposed to be sticking out, like some of these shapes don't really make sense. But anyway, this was my attempt at drawing the planes of the face totally from memory with no practice. It's one of those things where I know it's wrong, but I can't visualize what it's supposed to be like. It's like with certain Pokemon, when I try to draw from memory, I know what they look like, but I try to draw them and I just don't know. But it's a problem when it's just like a basic face structure. As someone who draws, this is something I should know. This is why I'm bringing myself back to the basics to relearn all this stuff. Well, I never did properly learn this in the first place. So now I'm going to find a bunch of reference of planes of the face from various angles, from various sources, and practice them. Okay, I've assembled my reference. I have this book here by Andrew Loomis. It's called Drawing the Head and Hands. There's not much in here for planes of the face. This is really all I could find. And then I also assembled a bunch of pictures like this. Woo! So now that this is all said and done, let me tell you, I am so glad I did this. It was very daunting for me because I hate drawing geometric shapes. I like organic shapes, and drawing the head repeatedly as a 3D shape was just scary. I was nervous to start. I definitely recommend drawing the planes of the head if you've never done this before, or if it's just been a really long time. It's just a really great exercise and a really great refresher. If you draw a lot of heads but you don't know where to place the shadows, this is what you need. And honestly, it just feels so good. I feel like I learned so much, and I feel like I conquered my fear of drawing the planes of the head. because of all the self-improvement series videos I want to do, this is the one I was dreading the most. Well, I can't actually think of any other ones I'm dreading. It was really just this one. But woo, I did it. A lot of these I only ended up drawing once or twice before I moved on to a different model. And the one I ended up liking the most was one I thought looked ugly when I was looking at the actual reference image. Because I made sure to only pick reference that was either a 3D model that was lit digitally, or an actual sculpture that someone photographed, because I didn't want to use someone's drawing as reference. I wanted the actual true original reference. And it was hard to find a lot of sculptures, and so the one I was looking at, I was like, oh, this one kind of has like a weird chin. It almost looks like it has two mouths, and his face just looks weird. I don't know, I didn't like it, but once I started drawing it, I found it to be the most helpful of them all, and that is the one that I drew the most of. I'll have a link to the one I'm talking about in the video description, because I found it useful and you might too. One thing I noticed while working on this is that I started off super slow and started going faster as I went along, obviously because I'm getting more comfortable with it, but also I was realizing how pointless it was to get too nitpicky. I guess you are just going to be slow when you're trying to learn the shapes for the first time, but I was focusing so much on the clean lines and getting the shading to look all nice, and it was just becoming a waste of time. I was spending so much time per head. And the whole point of this is I wanted to draw it enough times that I would get better at it and be able to commit it to memory. And I thought, okay, if I'm going this slow, I'm never gonna remember what all these planes are. I was just spending too much time on the pretty details instead of trying to commit the overall process to memory. So as we progress, you'll see some of them start to get a little rougher. I did do a variety of angles, mainly 3/4 left and right, and then side view and front view. And I didn't do any crazy angles because I'm gonna save that for a future video. I don't know when, but I wanna do one about perspective, especially angles of the head and stuff. So I just focused on more of the basic face angles in this one. Oh yeah, I also did back of the head. And I got some orange pencil on my sleeve because on the bottom of the page I foolishly drew on the left-hand side first. So now we're getting into the model that I said was my favorite one. I just felt like the shapes made sense and were the most helpful to me when it came to understanding the shadows. Also, one thing I'm going to be doing in future videos is focusing on specific features of the face. So for example, I might focus on just the eyes, and I'll be doing more close-up versions of the planes of the eyes. Same thing for lips and nose. So I will be diving a little bit further into this topic in future videos. But those will be a mix of, okay, here are the planes of the eye, and then here's a more nicely rendered eye, here are stylized eyes, just a variety of things all in one video. In terms of self-improvement series videos, this is probably one of the least interesting ones for you guys to watch, so I apologize for that, but I just feel like it was a necessary evil. And sure, I could have done it on my own time instead of making a video out of it, but I think it'll be helpful for other people because that's one thing I want to get out of this series is it's not only to help me, I want you guys to get something out of it too, and it'll give you ideas on what things to practice, and while you are practicing it, here are things to look out for, that sort of thing. You'll notice I'm cutting huge chunks of the time lapse out of this. That is because I spent a very long time on it and it was gonna make the video too long. Plus I thought, okay, here's 4 of the same heads on the same page. Like we can speed through this. One thing I was really learning from this was to keep making the skull wider than I thought it was going to be, and this applied for both the 3/4 view and the side view. I would draw the head way too narrow and would have to fix it, and so I'm glad I caught that because that was one of the things I improved on and learned from in this. I also feel like I learned a lot when it came to the cheeks, which is one of the reasons I liked this model. He actually was slightly different on both halves of his face. On one side he had a more detailed eye and the other was more simplified, and same with the cheeks. He had the indented cheek on one side and not on the other, and so I focused on the more detailed half. So yeah, I felt like I learned a lot from that cheekbone, and I feel like I also learned a lot about the back of the head, even though it's just very simple. You know, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, I've kind of been not drawing that correctly. And of course, everyone's head is different. Not everyone is going to have the same facial proportions as these sculptures, but you can still take the knowledge you gain from this and apply it to other head shapes. So next I'm going to do a recap of all the ones I drew, and there's more than what you saw me do so far, so keep watching because there are new ones you'll see at the end, including the ones I did from memory at the very end. Ooh, yeah. So yeah, you can see here, I was spending a lot of time on the shading and making everything so clean and nice. And then as we progressed, things started to get looser and looser. On this page, I think I like the purple and blue heads the best. And then flipping over, we have some of those side views. I really like that orange one. And some of these I was trying to focus more on the lines than the shading, which is why it's not fully shaded in. There's one model I did from the front view, but I didn't really end up liking it, so that was the only one I drew from him. And then here we have just more. And the very final page on the right hand side, these are the ones that I drew exclusively from memory, because as I was going, I would look at the reference less and less, and then these are the ones that I did completely from memory, and I think my favorite is the orange one. It just has nice proportions, and I think it looks good. So that was my little adventure drawing the planes of the head. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. Make sure to put this stuff into practice. If you want to learn this stuff, don't just watch this video. Actually try it yourself, because it's a lot harder than it looks. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.